Om. Welcome. I wanted to teach a very simple beginning meditation technique that is very powerful and very easy to learn. The key to success in anything new is practice, whether it's learning to ride a bicycle, learning to play a musical instrument, learning a new language. The first requisite is to practice. So if you want to learn meditation, you should think about setting aside a specific space in your home. It can be a corner, it can be a chair. If you're so lucky, it can be a room. A specific space in your home in which to meditate, as well as a specific time of day. In the beginning, I would recommend a minimum of 20 minutes per day, first thing in the morning. You wake up in the morning, you wash your face, you go to the bathroom. You can have a small amount of a beverage, whether it's a hot beverage or a room temperature beverage. And then rinse your mouth out well, and then sit and meditate for 20 minutes. If you do that, I promise you, I guarantee you, most of the days you will have a much better day. It's also very nice if you can meditate in the evening before dinner. Why before dinner and not before bed? Because one of the tendencies when we meditate is to get sleepy. Our mind so associates relaxation with sleep that we tend to get sleepy when we meditate. So before dinner, you'll be hungry and you'll be much less likely to get sleepy, number one. And number two, if you make a commitment to meditating before dinner, you'll also do it. Whereas if your commitment is to meditate before bed, it'll be much more easy to not meditate because you'll be tired. Having said all that, it's perfectly great to meditate before bed. I meditate in bed every night for a little bit as I go to sleep, but that's not really meditation. That's body scanning, and I'll talk about that another time. This is a meditation technique that I learned from my guru, Yogi Ramaiah, who practiced Kriya Yoga, a form of Kriya Yoga. The name of this meditation technique is Purna Shuddi Dhyana Kriya. Purna means complete. Shuddi means cleansing. Dhyana is the art of mind mastery. And Kriya is a practical technique. So this is a practical technique for cleansing the mind. That's why it's such a good beginning technique. It is very similar to basic mindfulness practice from Vipassana in Buddhism, but it has, anyone who's done mindfulness will notice a small difference. And I won't get into the differences now because it's not important. The basic principle, let's talk about how to do this meditation. The basic principle of cleansing the mind is developing the skill or ability to neither hold on to things, thoughts, emotions, sensations, to neither hold on to things that are neither useful nor necessary to hold on to, as well as to learn how to not forcefully push them away. So the things that we don't want to hold on to, for example, something that you don't like, we cause unnecessary suffering when we respond to things we dislike with force. Because in order to have force, you have to have tension. And tension is at the root of a lot of physical and mental disease. So when you sit down, here's how to do this meditation. You sit down, you close your eyes. I'm going to close my eyes now because I find it easier to focus. So you sit down and you close your eyes. And take a minute and just drop into your body. Just notice all of the physical sensations of your body now, in this moment, in time and space. Notice the points of contact with the chair for a moment. Notice what you're feeling physically. Notice I mentioned physically, because you really want to take a moment in order to drop into the body. What we're talking about is getting out of the mind and into the body to feel our physical sensations, just for a moment, just as a way to ground and to center yourself. Now, all you're going to do is sit quietly without moving. So choose a comfortable position. And by the way, if you can sit comfortably cross-legged on the floor, whether in a comfortable pose or the lotus pose or the half lotus pose, that's great. The reason why yogis always sat on the floor cross-legged is because it's a very stable position to sit in, and it's a very grounding position to sit in. Now, there are people with physical disabilities that prevent them from sitting comfortably on the floor. It's perfectly okay and normal to sit in a chair, but what I'd like to point out is to sit on it's called ischial tuberosity in anatomy, your sit bones. So the bones that are in contact with the floor when you're sitting cross-legged, and you can look at the anatomy to know what the ischial tuberosity are, if you don't know. And then don't lean back against a chair. Sit on your sit bones without leaning back, and with your spine straight but not tense, and with your chin tucked in just a little bit, just a tiny bit. If your head were up like this normally, just like that, and what that does is that lengthens your spine in the back. That lengthens your spine in the back of your neck. One of my Buddhist meditation teachers said, he was a monk, that when you get into the correct position for meditation, you're already meditating. Because once you're assuming that position of a straight spine with your chin tucked in a little bit, sitting on your ischial tuberosities, whether you're sitting cross-legged or in a chair, once you're in that position, you've already brought your mind into your body. You've already centered your mind briefly, and you've already set up the mechanism for successful meditation. Now, let's get to the heart of the matter, which is neither holding on to nor pushing away thoughts, emotions, or sensations. You sit quietly with your eyes closed. Pretty quickly, because this is the nature of our mind. And this is the problem of the mind that the people that created meditation in ancient times sought to work with, sought to resolve. Pretty quickly, you're going to start to you'll notice that you're distracted by either a sensation, for example, my knees hurt, by the sensation of an achy sensation in my knees, or you start to think about something. Oh my God, I wonder how much longer this meditation lesson is. Or I wonder what my husband is cooking for dinner. There's a billion people, so that means there's about 6 billion possible thoughts that can arise at any moment on earth. And the other thing would be emotions. You might suddenly start to feel a wave of sadness or a wave of joy, of bliss. You might suddenly start to feel angry about something, and the feeling of anger could precede the thought. Normally, you're going to be thinking about something, and then before you notice that you're lost in thought, you'll start to feel the emotion. At that point, whether it's my knees hurt, I wonder what's good for dinner, or feeling angry about the virus, the COVID virus, or I'm feeling sad. By the way, no, okay, let me not interrupt myself. I was going to say something about the emotion part. Sometimes when you feel an emotion, you'll feel the physical sensation associated with it. As it turns out, my brother died a week ago from the coronavirus. And when I mentioned a minute ago feeling sad, I felt a sort of heaviness right here. So any of those possibilities, the moment you realize that you're lost in the sensation, the thought, or the feeling, you simply let it go. You neither hold on to it, but you don't also push it away. So I'm holding this pencil. When I let go of this pencil, I just loosened my grip. I didn't throw it away forcefully, but I also didn't hold on to it. So you will let go of your thought, your feeling, your emotion, and just return to the quiet. Just return to nothing. The whole idea here, and is when I say the idea, I want to be careful. Don't sit down with an idea. Sit down with a practice. This is a non-intellectual process. It's a purely mental process. Intellect implies words, ideas, right? Let's be clear about that, because a lot of people that are drawn to meditation are themselves very mental. They're thinkers. They overthink and they can overanalyze. This is the exact opposite of that. It's a purely nervous system kind of process. So the moment you become aware, the moment you realize that you're thinking, feeling, or sensating, pain in the knee, what's going to be for dinner, sadness around my brother's death. The moment you realize that you're paying attention to that, you let it go. You don't throw it away. You don't push it away. You let it go and you return to what? To nothing, to quiet. Now, the pushing away part, where that comes into play is that you could, God forbid, but it can happen to anyone, you could be lost in an unpleasant daydream in which you're actually thinking about something quite horrible that gives you a feeling of aversion. Everybody has things they're afraid of. So it could be, you could be thinking about or visualizing in your thought process, like the way we do when we dream. You could be thinking about or visualizing something creepy, violent, something that you wouldn't normally do. That's called in Jungian psychology the dark side. Again, the moment you become aware that you're lost in that, you might, as you let it go, you might also feel aversion. You might feel a sort of nervous system creepiness, as it were, horror, shame, any emotion. And again, you could be meditating and suddenly realize that you're enjoying a feeling of bliss. It's the flip side of the coin. Bliss, poison, same in the context of this meditation technique, because we're cleansing. We're letting everything go. That's what cleansing is. You let everything go off of the thing you're cleansing. In this case, the thing is the mind, which is multidimensional. If this were interactive, I would now ask you if there are any questions. But since this is YouTube, you can comment with any questions. I will be glad to answer them. Questions are always great. There is no such thing as a dumb question, because what you might think is a dumb question might not be. And I find, as someone who's been teaching for, 50 years, that even a question that everyone would agree was dumb often stimulates a thought process that leads you to something very interesting. So please don't hesitate to ask questions by commenting on the YouTube. You can also go to my website, which is going to be on the YouTube address thing, and you can contact me through there with a question. And that might lead me to another video that would be very helpful for other people. So you'll notice at the beginning of this video, I chanted something. What I chanted was the Sanskrit word Om. You could spell it O-M in English. O as in orange, M as in mother. Om has no meaning in terms of translatable meaning. Om is considered the primordial sound that occurred at the time of the creation of the universe. It happens to be associated with Shiva, one of the three gods of the Hindu Trinity, who is the first yogi. So it's associated with both Hinduism but also yoga. And it's a lovely sound. It has a variation which is Aum, A-U-M. It's a lovely sound that begins deep in your body and involves an opening of everything and then a closing again of everything, just like creation, life, and death. There's another word in Sanskrit, Shanti. Shanti means peace. It's very nice if you're into it. You don't have to. You could be an evangelical Christian. You can be a Muslim and any other religion. You could be an atheist and practice this meditation, in which case, just forget about this part. But if you're interested, I generally begin my meditation and end my meditation by chanting Om Shanti 3 times. And I would say that it's classical conditioning, if we want to analyze from the standpoint of science, in that once I hear Om Shanti, it already tells my mind and my nervous system, oh, hey, guess what? We're going to meditate now. In the same way that The smell of food tells you you're going to eat, or the bell ringing, whatever. Okay, I forgot something I wanted to say about the meditation technique. As you start to meditate, and you have this principle of letting go, what you want to observe is whether let me rephrase this. What you don't want to do is be vigilant. You don't want to be sitting there meditating, worrying, and people do this, worrying whether you'll be distracted. Being vigilant, lest you get distracted. Don't do that. You don't need to do that. Be positive. And I'm saying that on purpose because what I mean is just focus on nothing. Just focus on being still. Being still. The distraction comes, return to the stillness. The distraction comes, return to the stillness. The distraction comes, return to the stillness. I meet people that say, I tried to meditate and I couldn't. And I explain to them, I always ask them, how long did you try for? Number one. But number two, we live in such a society that with this disease of perfectionism, I mean, doing a good job is really important with many things, but we still have a disease of perfectionism, whereas people beat themselves up, and if they're not doing a perfect job after 10 minutes, they quit. So I say this boldly, the worst meditation you've ever done, let's say 20 minutes of constant distraction, where you didn't return to the quiet even once, guess what? You still get credit. You still get an A, and it still counts because you still set the wheel rolling. You still meditated. You still sat for 20 minutes. And your brain, when I first started meditating when I was 17, a lot of my meditations were 20 minutes of being lost in thought. And guess what? I still felt calmer. Of course, once I got better at it and practiced more over a longer period of time, I had really lovely meditations in which I sat for an hour without a single thought or distraction. So, that happens over time. So, number one, be kind to yourself, be good to yourself, be gentle. Even if you don't have a great meditation, you're still doing what you need to do. You're doing a great job if you do it. If you sit for 20 minutes, you've done a great job. I don't care what happens inside your head. Obviously, over time, if you do this, you're automatically going to get better at it. You don't have to try very hard. You automatically will. I guarantee you that. Or your money back. And that was a joke. And the other thing is to not be vigilant. This is a gentle process. When you notice that you're distracted and you let it go, you return, you notice, make that observation or that awareness softly, gently, without judgment. So whatever you're distracted by, just return to the quiet. In Tamil, which is, I didn't pronounce that very well because it's a hard word to pronounce unless you're a native Tamil speaker. In Tamil, the language in South India that I learned a little bit of when I lived in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, everybody's heard of Chennai, that's the capital. When they tell a little kid, kind of like, hey, cut it out, something like the way we'd say in English, cut it out, stop it. The word that the phrase that they use is sumayira, and it means literally be still. So that's interesting, right? It's kind of like we will tell a kid, calm down, but be still. It's more specific, and so this is a meditation that cleanses the mind, so that you can experience stillness And the specific results, besides the obvious ones like lowering your blood pressure and all that, is that it enables you to be calm in the eye of the storm and to navigate the river of life, or the journey of life, as people say nowadays, with less reactivity to things that you have aversion to, and less suffering, less lack of control with the things that you find attractive. All right, so I'm going to meditate now for a few minutes with the video still running. So if you'd like to join me, you can. I will chant as I start to meditate, and I will chant again. I'm just going to meditate for about 3 minutes because I don't want to have a long video of just silence. If the mood takes me, I'll meditate longer, but that's my plan. I'm not timing it, so it'll be approximate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. If you're still here, I would like to ask you to think about what you experienced and to write about it in the comments. If there's anything you want to share, maybe I have a comment to make, or if you have any questions. That's it. I'll leave it for now. Have a safe day and evening. Please wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Wear a mask when you're around other people. And thank you very much for tuning in. This is Eyton Shalom at the Body Mind Wellness Center in San Diego. Have a nice evening.